Alright, here we go. Session 3. Whether by carriage, by foot, or by lizard climbing through a second-story window, all of you have arrived at Pivlichino's. The wine is sweet, the ale is cold, and the camel spiders are extra crunchy. But the crowd has grown increasingly restless as fight time has come and gone. One question is on everyone's mind. Where is Dane Summer?
Dane.
Silk, you've been scouring the upper level since leaving Sludge and Rajko in the back rooms. You finally spotted the man that you were looking for. He appears to be of middle age and is sitting by himself at a small table. He's got a ledger book in front of him with some betting slips already torn out of it. He glances up at you as you approach, grunting softly.
I think it just Squint. Yeah, you seem to be the right bookie here for betting on the fights, yeah?
He kind of looks up at you. He says, "Yeah, some call me Squint."
Good. Listen, I got a bet. Well, 2 bets that I need to place for tonight's event. Okay?
He kind of looks you up and down skeptically, and he says, "Coin up front."
I'm a little appalled that you would think that I would not be able to put my coin up for this bet by the way you would just eyeing me. But it's okay. I can let things slide. This ain't the first time that it's been happened. It's okay.
It's a lot of words and not a lot of coin.
Gives him just like the beadiest glare that he can, and starts digging for the pouch that Rashko had given him.
Mm-hmm.
This one right here. This one's going to be for Dane winning the fight in round 5.
Whoa. He reaches out. He takes the pouch from you. He takes a look. He kind of shakes it a bit. He seems a little bit surprised. He pulls out one of the Xeno coins within it. He bites into it, checking to see if it's authentic. And he just sort of shrugs a little bit. Okay. Champion or challenger? Because champion is 1-4, challenger 5-1. No one really thinks he has got it in him to beat Dane Summer.
Nah, of course not. That's why this one's going on to the champion.
Champion 1-4, and So you want to pick a round? Okay. The betting's been good tonight at rounds 3, rounds 4. They're at 3-1 odds. Round 2, round 5, decision 5-1. Round 1, 10-1. If you think he's gonna knock him out right away.
Repeat those last 3 again.
So rounds 2 and 5 are 5-1. Same thing if it goes to a decision. Like if they both are still standing at the end of 5 rounds, and round 1. Round 1 is 10-1 odds, so if you think the fight's going to end in round 1 with your guy winning, you get 10-1 for that. Times the odds of champion or challenger.
I see.
Now, you don't have to pick a round. You can just bet on champion or challenger, but if you pick a round, better the profits.
Now, this is more or less my friend's idea here of he thinks that it's going to be good. It's going to be a good long fight is what it's going to be. So he's putting that pouch right there for round 5 going on champion.
Round 5. All right. So champion round 5 is 5-4. You're getting much better odds than if you just bet champion there. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he shrugs a little. He sort of writes out a little slip from his ledger. He tears it out. He takes his ring and he stamps it down on the back, and it leaves like a visible impression there. He says, "You get a winner, you bring it to Vizkopa Bank by Obsday, settle up then."
Dude. Now this is my bet. This is personal to me, because I kind of believe in the kid. He looks kind of intimidating if you haven't seen him just yet.
Okay. He takes that first pouch from you and he puts it into a bag at his hip. And the bag, you can see there's like an Orsov family crest on the side. You can make an intelligence check here.
All right.
See if you recognize it. You do recognize it. This is the Zolotov family crest. It's not one of the major houses of the Orzhov, but it is associated with someone who works at the Zolotov Bank. Or works at Viscopa Bank, excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, so now you want to make a second bet for yourself.
Yeah. Second bet. I believe in the kid. I think that he's gonna probably actually come out on top. Gonna put 25 for him, and as counting out into a smaller pouch, the 25 gold.
All right, 25 on Challenger. You picking around with that, or you just betting Challenger?
Betting Challenger, round 4.
Challenger round 4. You got it. All right, so Challenger round 4. That's 20. Oh, sorry. That's 15 to 1. So your 25 will get you 15 times that if you win.
If he wins, exactly. But
if you win.
He looks like he's got some scrap in him.
All right. So once again, he writes down the ledger slip, and he kind of stamps the back of it with the crest. And as he's doing that, you hear shouting. You hear someone yelling nearby. He says, "Yo, Tinkerman, you here for the fight?"
I have my back turned to Javor, but the look that Squint probably recognizes is just, oh God, again. Hey, Javor, great to meet you, friend. How you doing?
He's sitting at a table right next to the bookie. He's got a Loxodon with him, and there's a young woman sitting there as well. And Javor just calls out, says, "Hey, right on, Tinkerman, right on. Come sit with us. Best seats in the house." They are not, in fact, the best seats in the house, but they do have an adequate view of the ring.
Yeah, I kind of look at Javor and I see that it's just like, well, maybe for some people that got a little bit, more verticality to them, this ain't too bad. But I'll find the next tool.
Do you wanna sit up on my shoulder?
I appreciate the gestures, my. Who are you? What's your name?
I'm Helio, right?
Helio, nice to meet you. My name's Silk. It kind of rhymes with as smooth as my personality. Listen, I appreciate the gesture, but a little bit intimidating for a first impression to try and climb up on something, you know?
You could always introduce yourself and hang out for a smoke. You want some smoke?
Now you're speaking a bit more of my language. He goes to bring out a small bag of tobacco and a pipe for that.
No. Hold on. Let me see that pipe. I'll give you something better than that tobacco.
Oh.
Do you hand me the pipe?
Yeah.
Okay. So Helio rummages in his sweater, in his vest or his robe in his pockets and pulls out a little jar. Takes a little bit of some plant you can't really see what it is and squishes it between his fingers, and then just sprinkles it into your pipe and hands you the pipe back.
Can I make any kind of check to try and identify?
You can make a nature check. This would be nature.
Okay.
I'm fairly sure these are organic, not synthetic.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Non-GMO.
All right. Helio, tell him all about what it is.
This is the best marijuana you've ever had in your entire life. It's gonna put you on your ass, and you're gonna have so much fun when you get off your ass. It's gonna be like, it makes everything fun, pretty colors. You don't know what's going on, but man, you're having fun.
Silk spots that. You see his eyes kind of start to twinkle a little bit. It's like, he gets closer to you a bit. He'll be like, "Get this straight from Selesnya?"
I am the one who supplies it to Selesnya.
Well, my friend, you know what? You, I think, are going to be my new best friend.
I like this guy. And he kind of pats you on the head, which he doesn't know his own strength, and kind of pushes you a little bit because you're so small.
Just fix the head, not the merchandise.
Javor
Sorry about that.
Javor butts in here. He butts in here for a second. He says, "Hey, this guy right here, he makes the coolest stuff."
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Ask him about it.
Did you see how does your stuff compare to that? That giant dragon that I almost got to ride this morning.
Well, no. I will say this: I haven't been on a project that large in quite some time, but a couple little bit of clockwork, some gearwork, some other little accoutrements like that. Fine fabricated materials. I'm usually the one that can pick it apart or put it back together where it should be.
If you ever find if you ever create like a decent pocket watch or something, maybe I'd be willing to part with some of my stash for you.
I think we could come to some sort of arrangement of that. And as you're saying that, like, so tries to be a little not sneaky but subtle about just showing the not exact timepiece that's on his wrist, but it's more like a recognizable sundial for nice and easy reference to what time it could be outside.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking maybe. Let's continue to talk more about this another time. Let's enjoy the fight. Let's have a good smoke.
You're about to share a little bit of your benefits here. I'm gonna get the next round of drinks on us. Okay?
Javor, I love this guy.
Not me under the table though. I know what you did the last.
Javor laughs. Javor laughs. He leans in. He's like, "Yo, is that guy taking bets? Let me get in on that." He appears to not have noticed that Squint was accepting wagers until you came up. So he starts like rummaging through his pockets looking for money.
Yeah, he's taken some of them. It's backed by the Orzov, so they're legit because you got an actual valid piece of script. They'll be able to honor the bet.
Orzov? Did you say Orzov?
Yeah. I know. They usually get the same kind of feelings that even myself. Yeah.
Yeah, Javor, if you really want to bet, I'm gonna hold on a second. Helio rummages.
Apprehension, but they do back when it comes to financial and legal matters for the most part. And if they don't, well, you can get the Azorius involved if you really want to take 5 to 10 years to finally get your coin back.
I'll tell you what, Javor, here's 5 gold. Please just make some bets for me. Just tell me what I need to do to win.
He takes the coin. He's like, all right. So we can bet on either the champion or the challenger. So who you think? You think it's going to be Dane, or you think it's going to be the other guy? The other guy.
I always want to root for the underdog usually, but with Dane here, it's a tough choice. Hold on.
You pick. You put up 5. I'll put up 5, and then we can pick what round, or we can just bet on the person. Much simpler, just bet on the person.
All right, we're betting on the challenger. I'm betting on the challenger.
All right, I'll just put this on the challenger. Hold on, I'll go do this. So Javor hops over to talk to Squint, and as he does, the young Pivlichino waitress from earlier, she comes back to your table. She's carrying a full tray. She sets down the ales that you ordered. She sets down some plates of food, sets down your order, and right in front of Javor, she puts down this solifuge meal that I have promised that I will not describe in detail. And then the woman turns to Silk and says, "Hi, welcome to Pivlichino's. What can I get you tonight? Our specials tonight are pulled Indrix sandwich with pepper dressing, roast solifuge drizzled in caramel, and for our adventurous diners, we have fresh Drekovac skewers on a bed of wild greens. Also, start your meal off right with a blood soup."
I'll take the skewers, madame, and also if you got glass of fire wine, I'll be able to go with that.
Skewers and fire wine coming right up. I'll be back in a flash. And she darts off toward the kitchen. Oh, you go ahead.
Whatever else these two want for drinks. I don't think they finished their glasses, but they could probably order something special.
Okay. Javor seems distracted. Helio, you can place your next drink order if you want.
2 more ales.
2 more ales.
And whatever Javor wants to.
Yeah, the second of many. All right. So she heads off to go get that, and while she does, she rushes past someone who is also walking in that area. Nika, you have to hastily hop out of the way of the waitress as she rushes by. You got a coin purse in your hand. You almost dropped it. She says, "Whoopsie, pardon me."
What? Whoa! Did you just drop something? What happened?
Am I supposed to be muted?
This is you. This is you. You're in the scene.
I'm sorry. I didn't pick that up. I've been listening.
So you were making, at the end of the last session, you were making your way up to the upper levels to place a bet on behalf of your uncle. And you have made it now to the upper levels.
Okay, so what's on... Did I make it to that guy's table yet?
You're on your way there. You just almost got run over by a waitress. And there seems to be a few people having a good time at the table you're walking past right now.
Okay. I'm feeling very out of sorts, and I'm just, like, blending into the background. And I'm not even surprised the waitress has nearly mowed me down. I go over to the table where the bets are.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of quietly hate everyone who's happy for a moment.
Sorry.
And it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, this man at the table must be Zolotov's bookie. So Fabio pointed him out while you were waiting for your meals to arrive, and he handed you his purse. He told you to bet it all on the challenger, and then Simon took the purse away, and then Fabio took the purse back, took out 5 gold, and he gave the rest of the pouch to Simon. And then he handed you the 5 gold, and while Simon wasn't looking, slipped you another pouch that was even heavier than the first one. So you checked it on your way up here. It contained 95 more Xenos worth in assorted gold, silver, and copper pieces.
I am completely fine with this, and I guarantee you that nobody saw me carrying that pouch or looking into it either.
Mm-hmm.
So I take those 95 golds, and I'm holding that pouch, and I try and get the bookie's attention. I recognize the symbol on the side as the Zolotov family crest of the bag.
You're familiar with the lesser houses of the Orsov, so you don't need to make a check to recognize it.
Yeah. Like, and hey, kind of clank the gold metal against the table. It should be a recognizable sound.
He glances up and he sees the coin that you're holding directly in your hand, and he gives you sort of an appreciative nod. He says, "Champion or challenger? Champion is 1-4. Challenger is 5-1."
Double checking with the DM. Challenger, right? I'm betting on the challenger.
That is what Fabio instructed you to do. Yeah. He did not. He did not tell you a particular round, but you're about to be asked if you want a round.
I tell him the challenger.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, I'm placing 2 bets. And I hand him the bag, which now has 90.
It was a total of 100. You had 5 in your hand and 95 in the bag.
Yes, the bag now has 90 Xenos in it. And
90 Xenos now.
I hand it to the bookie,
mm-hmm.
and I tell him this bet on the challenger.
Mm-hmm. He writes out a slip, and he is assuming you don't pick a round. He just writes out the slip just for challenger.
Yeah. And then I said, and this separately, and I hand him 12 gold on the challenger.
Okay. Okay, so now you have a second slip, 12 gold for the challenger.
Yep.
You become.
Hold on a second.
Oh, go ahead.
If this was real, I would be doing some math real quick, because if you've got odds of 5-1 and 4-1, you can do hedging with bets.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just pretend I feel like dealing with that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say 10 on the challenger, and then a separate of 2 on the... So she's betting 10 more separately on the challenger and 2 on the defender. What the original?
Again.
Our famous guy.
So a bet of 2 on the champion will get you like 5 silvers back if you win. Plus the original 2, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna take all 3 slips.
You write all that down, because I'm not writing it down, and we'll figure it out when the fight's done. You become uncomfortably aware of someone at the next table watching you. He leans in as the bookie is writing out your slips and says, "What's a pretty girl like you doing at a big fight like this?" And he raises his eyebrows suggestively.
She blinks like 10 times. Do I know you?
Oh, not yet, but you will.
She's like, who are you?
Oh, I'm Javor Baran. And you are?
Oh, I am allergic to strangers.
Oh, that's kind of rude. Look, I'm sorry. I was just joking with you. Come have a seat with us. Let us buy you a drink.
Her eyes are kind of a little bit too wide, and she's a little panicky. And she's like, "I'm working. I can't." And then she looks at the drinks, and she's like, "What are you buying?"
Oh, what are you? Whatever you want. We got ale. We got wine. We got mead.
She glances back toward her table where the waitress forgot to bring her drink. And is very nervous. But it looks like everyone at the table is quite absorbed in what they're doing. And then she glances back and at the next table over, and she looks at what Rare is doing, who she has recognized in the previous round. And what is Rare doing?
He used to be having a conversation with the other people seated there at the head table. It's a little bit animated, but you can't tell what the content of the conversation is. And you can see back at your own table, Fabio and Tomek and Raul are having a lively discussion as well.
What perception
Can
roll?
Rare see her?
I don't believe Rare would take notice of someone from the upper level, like she'd have to be staring pretty well. I guess I can give you a perception check. I give you a perception check.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What about can I do a perception check for if I notice that she's uncomfortable?
I believe that would be insight.
Insight,
Yeah.
sure.
Sure, go for it.
I do need to point out that she is by nature hard to notice for anyone.
Even if you're talking to somebody at my table?
If I'm talking to your table, but it's like her bane of existence.
Helio,
It's
you
hard.
definitely recognize that she's uncomfortable, and Rare, you do notice her looking at you, but she's not the only one. There are a handful of gazes on you from the upper level and lower level alike, and it's just sort of an occupational hazard for you, but so you don't really take notice of her particularly.
Okay.
Hey, Javor, if you want to make her more comfortable, you could offer her some weed. Just saying.
I mean, I didn't want to come on too strong. Are you you into that sort of thing? Yeah, maybe beer, maybe ale and mead aren't your choice. He seems equally nervous.
She's gonna kind of like squeak and choke a little and kind of say, ale is good, and sit, like kind of flop onto an open seat for a minute if there is an open seat.
She can pull up a chair from the table nearby.
Okay.
Okay, and while you sit with them and maybe get to know them a little bit, Pivlichino's by this point is absolutely packed with diners. They're devouring their meals, they're swilling their drinks, they're laughing, they're arguing with their friends over who's going to win. Few were still paying attention to the trickle of new arrivals at the front entrance. But you, Sloan Shaw, have learned the hard way to always keep one eye on the door.
Scrape the bottom of the bowl of my blood soup and watch the front door.
So, when a young woman walks in wearing the uniform of a Boros legionnaire concealed beneath a heavy cloak, it definitely sparks your curiosity. You know there must be some other soldiers, other Wojeks in here, but like Bell and Dars, they choose not to parade their guild allegiance. And then the mystery deepens further when someone else you know walks in just behind her.
Yeah.
Oh, finally. Right, this is Agris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're over here. And so the older man, he is wearing a plain cloth tunic and trousers, a bit shabby from frequent wear. He steps in, he scans the room, and he immediately spots your table. He's got a broad grin on his face as he approaches.
You dirty dog. I've been looking all around the city for you tonight.
He sort of looks at you in a little bit of confusion to see you there, but he doesn't react to you right away. He climbed up the outside stairwell to get to the upper level, and then he approaches the table and he opens his arms and he says, "Dars, do the nurses know you escaped the rest home?" And Dars stands up and his chair just sort of like clatters to the floor behind him. He wraps his arms around Agris and squeezes tight and he says, "Escaped! They sent me out looking for you!" And he sets Agris down and he just gestures to the table and he says, "It's good to see you, old friend." Agris rubs his chest. He's grimacing. The hug clearly hurt him. He says, "Can't take a load off just yet." And now he turns to you, Sloan, and he says, "Miss Shaw, welcome. I didn't know you'd be here tonight." He glances from you to Belle and then back to you, and he says, "You're much too wise to have let this one sweet-talk you into joining him."
No, I was in fact I was looking for you.
You're
Waiting for your arrival with bated breath.
You're looking for me. And Bell sort of like glowers at Agris, and he says, "Missed your shift again, old man. Feather covered for you." He takes a drink from his ale, and he says, "They're going to retire you if you're not careful." Agris sort of shrugs off the comment, and he looks at Sloane and says, Why are you looking for me?"
Okay, this is just like a kind of general question, but just like, am I in any way like trying to be like, would I like want to like talk to him privately, or do I not care about saying this like in front of like this table of people?
I think you would prefer to talk to him privately, not because you necessarily care too much about the other, Boros at the table, but because it's a pretty crowded tavern. So
and you kinda
overhearing
don't know
you might get word back to your quarry.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, actually, Agris, unfortunately, I'm mixing a bit of business and pleasure tonight, so I was wondering if I could have a word with you aside. I need to find somebody.
I can only help one person at a time, Miss Shaw. Get me one of those Sheevan fire whiskeys. Maybe it'll jog my memory.
All right, so now I guess I'd need to try to get the attention of like a barmaid.
Meanwhile, Maliva, she steps up to the table and she says, "Thank you, Lieutenant. Where is Pivlich?" She kind of peers down at the lower tables, and Agris shakes his head back at her, and he says, "In here, I'm just Agris. Pivlich is down there at the head table with the carnival jester and the pretty horned woman. I'll take you to him." And he kind of gives you a nod, Sloane, and then Agris and Maliva they walk their way back to the stairs and they head down to the lower level.
Shoot. Okay. So all right. So I stand up from the table. I said, take matters into my own hands.
You're pretty easily able to flag down one of the waitresses that are rushing past.
Okay, yeah. So I put in the order, but I'm also kind of curious about what he's up to.
Okay. Well, your ticket is non-existent. So if you'd like to sneak down to the lower level and try to listen in on what's going on down there, you could, but there would be at least a little bit of risk of getting caught.
Yeah, I guess I probably want to keep a low profile. All right, then I put in my drink order and I wait, not particularly patiently.
Agris and Maliva both seemed pretty distracted, like they weren't expecting you to be there and didn't really have the mental bandwidth to handle any more problems tonight.
Right. Which I did somewhat interpret, but I also don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Rare, you've been listening to Pivlich and Jury swap stories of past events at their respective establishments. Seer Copperplate, the scribe, the journalist, has been following along in rapt fascination, every so often laughing and jotting down notes with his quill. On occasion, you've seen the head chef, Rocco. He's been moving amongst the other tables.
Rare.
Pivlich, though, he seems increasingly agitated. His eyes are darting nervously around the room, and the crowd seems to be growing more restless. Go ahead.
Rare internally rolls her eyes at certain remarks, but doesn't show it. Does it kind of slyly behind their backs. But looks Pivlich straight in the eyes and says, "Is everything all right?"
Don't you worry about it. I just Yeah, everything. It'll be okay. It has to be okay.
What is this thing that you say that is going to be okay? Is everything...
It's just we're a little behind schedule tonight, but you know it's gonna be fine. And he sort of gets distracted, and you notice him looking at this old man and this young woman as they approach the table from the other side of the room. He sort of smiles at them. And he's got a genuine smile, but he's not very relaxed, and he calls out a greeting. He says, "Agris, my friend, I was hoping to see you here tonight. And who is your lovely date?" He stands up and he takes Maliva's hand as she arrives at the table. He bows over and he presses a kiss to its backside. But Maliva looks kind of uncomfortable at the formal greeting. She pulls her hand away. Pivlich freezes as he sees the insignia of the Legion peeking out from beneath Pivlich's thick cloak.
Esteemed Pivlich, I am here today.
Oh, wait. You're too... You skip parts.
Sorry,
Oh, wait, it's Sly.
No, it's not a date, Pivlich, I keep telling you. This is Trooper Maliva, and she brings news that I think you want to hear.
Pivlich looks at Agris with surprise and sudden wariness. Am I speaking to my friend Agris, or to Wojek Lieutenant Kos? You know this is not the most welcoming establishment for your fellows. Are you vouching for her while she's here?
Now listen, Pivlich. You've bigger worries, my friend. I think you should really just hear what she has to say.
Pivlich turns and looks at Maliva with a worried look.
Esteemed Pivlich, I'm here today to request your aid on behalf of the Boros Legion. We are in need of performers for the Clash of Champions tomorrow. The lieutenant tells me you can help.
Pivlich's brow furrows, looking bemused. Far be it for me to question the Legion's preparations, but is the night before the event really the best time to be finding performers?
We need emergency replacements. Our performing troupe was due to arrive in the 10th district today, but we've been informed that their caravan was destroyed by Gruul marauders en route.
Oh, that's terrible news. Wait. Which performing troupe?
The Mirthmakers!
Pivlich looks at Agris for confirmation, and Agris nods back to him. And then he says, No! This is not happening to me right now. He reaches up, he grabs his ears, and he's pulling on them hard as if he's trying to rip them off of his skull. Rare, Jury leans in next to you and is whispering in your ear.
Dane Summers was part of the Mirthmakers. Now Pivlich is holding a prize fight without his prize fighter.
Rare giggles a little bit.
Sears frantically taking notes on the exchange, and Pivlich, he's hyperventilating. What am I gonna do? It's almost showtime. I can't just tell everyone the fight's off.
Now. The crowd came for a fight, so give them a fight. They won't much care who's fighting once the blood starts to fly. Tell your bouncer to do it.
Pivlich's shaking his head. He said, No, they came for Dane, not some tussle between no-names. They paid for Dane. They're gonna burn my restaurant down.
Agris walks up and puts his hand on Pivlich's shoulder, starts giving him a massage. Says, "Relax, Pivlich, relax. Let's take some time and figure out what we're gonna do."
Time. That's what I need. I need time. I need to distract them. I need. and his eyes turn to you, Rare. He says, "My lady, never have I been forced to eat my own words so quickly. It appears Pivlichino's is precisely the type of establishment that could use a performer of your talent. Could you help an old imp out in his time of need and accept a contract to perform tonight?"
He kind of slowly glances at him and says, "Performing, as in musically, not fighting, right?"
No. Unless are you like a good fighter too?
Rare kind of sits back and thinks and ponders a little bit. She leans forward again and says, "I'm glad to perform musically today."
Musically. That's what I had in mind. I need some time to figure out what to do. Name your price.
How much are you willing to cough up? You seem pretty scrambled right now.
25 gold? 25 gold.
Make it 35 and I might do my best.
35 it is. Hold on, one moment. He kind of like pats his pockets and he pulls out some paper, and he like looks at it real quickly. He's got a pen in his hand. He sort of scratches a couple of things out and scribbles some stuff in, and he hands it over to you, and it's just loaded with like legal terms. It says this is a 1-day contract for your performance. Standard stuff, just to make it official.
Can Rare can she look over this contract before she actually signs it?
She has all of the power here. She can do pretty much whatever she wants. He seems to be pretty desperate.
Can she give time to look over the contract before she actually agrees to it?
Of course. You start looking over the contract. I won't read everything out here, but it basically says what he has described. It says that you sign on to be a performer for the next 24 hours. There's 1 day you can he's crossed out. It was clearly like a fight contract, but he's crossed out all the stuff about fighting, and he's written in performance, artistic performance instead, a whole bunch of stuff like that. You don't notice anything tremendously out of the ordinary, and as he's seeing you looking it over, he gets a little smile on his face. He says, I can sweeten the deal too."
What is this sweetness you speak of?
So you seem quite taken with my head chef, Rocco. Sing for me tonight, and I'll see to it you get a private evening with them here. They can prepare for you their most fantastic dishes.
I like what you have offered. She puts down the contract, looks over it one last time, and signs her name nice and slow right at the bottom.
He breathes audible sigh of relief, and he just says, do you need any preparations before you begin? Maybe another glass of wine, perhaps?
Maybe a glass of wine to wet the lips a little bit, but I think I'm a little bit ready, as long as you're ready for me to perform.
Okay. And he turns to Agris and Maliva. He says, You two wait here, have a seat, enjoy the food. I will be right back. And he looks to you, Rare, and he says, if you would follow me. And he begins flapping his way towards the hallway that leads to the fighting pit.
Rare gets up and follows right behind him, kind of giving herself a stiff back and making sure she looks as presentable as possible, and follows right behind.
Okay. Ravnica. You notice that Pivlich and Rare have gotten up and they've kind of departed from the head table, and they walked off, and you have no idea where they went. You've been kind of sitting, having a good time. Your drink arrived pretty quickly, and you've been talking to your friends up here, your new acquaintances up here in the upper deck.
I would describe her as less tense and a lot maybe calmer. She has definitely finished that drink.
Did she imbibe on the smoking?
No, she like squeaked every time someone offered it, so you probably stopped offering. But she sees Rare getting up, and she's like, oh, and then her stomach sinks, and she's like, maybe I missed my chance to meet her. Oh my god, I'm going to die if I talk to her. So
how noticeable is that kind of like reaction though?
You probably see like her eyes get big and she looks panicky again, and then she's like face on table. She's like, I have to go back down there. I'm working. I'm still working.
You guys notice, you guys absolutely notice her reaction, but you don't know why, because you have no reason to know why. What it's tied to.
Like polishing off one of the skewers, because you said the food and drinks had arrived.
Yes.
He's polishing off one of his skewers, but he sees Annika's reaction. It's just like, I'm still working. So it's like, y'all right there, lass. You look like you either just watched your date walk out with somebody else, or somebody's looking for you. Been good?
She makes a face and she says family problems. But it was good.
I don't mean to laugh at your situation. Trust me. I know all about family problems.
Annika,
family problems.
Annika, you hear a loud crunch.
But seems like he's in the same boat.
Annika, you hear a loud crunching sound from right next to you as Javor digs into the solifuge.
Javor's Javor. I can't explain that.
If you ever need support, just remember I always have jars of the happy stuff. Just let me know. Just let me know. He's crying because he's thinking of his own family problems.
Oh, he's crying.
I don't know all that well. I guess that it might be the Selesnya that's getting to him.
She might like very awkwardly like pat you on the very large hand you have, like twice. Pat.
I'll be okay.
Pat. And
I just want to enjoy the night.
Yeah. I gotta go.
So, Annika, I assume you take off and head back down to your table?
She does. She's hesitating a minute because she's trying to figure out if she can be like, do you come here very much? Like, but she's kind of like, I don't know how to ask that or how I would ever find them again. So she's just like, I gotta go. And she kind of goes back to the
You
table.
get the feeling as you exit this table that you will never see these strange people again.
Yeah, she's pretty bummed.
She's a little wound up. Team.
She's pretty bummed because she doesn't have much fun. Which, did Rare go, like, away somewhere? And now there's just...
She just walked out of view, and you're not sure where she headed off to. But you head back down to your table, you can see that the meals The meals have been delivered, and your companions there have just dug into their meals without you. You've got a salad of leafy greens set in place between Simon and Fabio, and Fabio's now got Megara seated in his lap. None of them appear inclined to move to let you in.
There's an empty spot, but it's right next to Fabio and Megara. And so she goes back to sit next to Simon because Fabio and Megara can get really gross.
So as you get back, you hear that Fabio and Tomek, they appear to be engaged in a discussion about the nature of the mortal soul. Fabio waves his slender hands dramatically. He says, although some grossly misinformed people call vampires the soulless ones, I am absolutely convinced that my soul remains intact. Although transformed, I am transformed. And Tomek nods in agreement. He says, oh, in the eyes of the law, you retain your agency and your estate, even after being afflicted with the curse of vampirism. Meanwhile, Meg scoffs. She says, you mean blessed with the gift of vampirism? It's what made my sweet Fabio into the powerful, vigorous man he is today. And she sort of purrs and she leans her body back against Fabio's chest.
Annika, quietly gags to herself and she's, transformed into the madness that I deal with today. She kind of mutters that to herself quietly.
Fabio doesn't hear you. He seems pleased by the flattery. He says, someday you'll know what the gift feels like, my pet. And he reaches up one bony hand and he draws Megara's hair to one side. He tilts her head, he exposes her neck, and he just runs his tongue along it. And her eyes just go wide and glassy as she melts against him. Megara, she speaks and her words, they're slurred and slow. She sounds like she's suddenly exhausted. She says, Lord Fabio thinks I'm a rare vintage, that my blood is extraordinary. And he picks up this container from the table and he starts shaking this brown seasoning onto her neck. And it's just kind of sticking there and congealing with the saliva. And he says, a vampire can taste the memories of his meals, and there's nothing in the world more pleasurable than a vampire's bite. And he bites into her neck, and she just starts moaning and quivering, and you see uncomfortable, disgusted glances from all of the nearby tables.
Annika eats her salad.
Aren't you glad you came back?
No. But she's just going to completely ignore this because this is pretty much every day.
It is.
At least they're wearing some clothes.
You notice you notice that Raoul is kind of watching the show with an interested smirk, but Tomek, he looks away in discomfort. Raoul notices and he reaches out and he puts his hand on Tomek's forearm. He says, hey, everybody's got to eat. She seems pretty happy about it. Live and let live, I say. Tomek pulls his arms away with a frown. He says, people are staring. Annika, anything else?
Annika's just gonna say, they're staring just like when somebody lands a griffin on someone else.
Gargoyle.
Fine.
And
gargoyle.
I said I was sorry 3 times.
She's gonna make a perception check. Did he mean it?
Insight.
She's pretty grumpy
Insight.
about it. Insight. Sorry, wrong system.
No problem.
Oh, I'm supposed to do it from the character sheet. That's right.
You can just roll, but yeah, it's easier from the character sheet because then you've got your bonuses and everything.
Oh, that didn't work, did it?
It's just /R.
Oh.
And it's a backslash, not a forward slash.
It rolled a 19. Could you see that?
I see a 22.
Yeah, that was plus her bonuses.
Gotcha. Sorry, this was for insight. You think that Tomik was quite sincere. He actually did seem apologetic for hitting you with the gargoyle as he was taking off, but he was in a hurry.
She's gonna kind of say awkwardly, okay, fine, sorry, not used to people actually apologizing.
He looks at you and he seems like he's about to say something, but he's interrupted as the lights in the tavern go a little bit dim, drawing all of the attention towards the arena. And
Finally, we're getting the fight going.
inside the arena, Pivlich flies out into the fighting pit, and the crowd roars with excitement. He holds up his little hands, he's motioning for quiet. My lords, my ladies, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Pivlichino's on this most special day, the eve of the Festival of the Guild Pact. The crowd roars again. You all notice the fighting pit has an amplification aura in it, so it's a minor magical effect that ensures that the sounds from within are projected clearly throughout the building. Pivlich continues. And on this day, you will bear witness to one of the greatest fights that Ravnica has ever seen. Now, we have had an unavoidable delay, but I promise we will start the fight as soon as we are able. And at the mention of the delay, the crowd's approval quickly turns, and there are scattered jeers and hisses. Someone throws a chicken leg at Pivlich from the upper tables, but it misses him badly.
Does it hit Rare?
No, Rare hasn't stepped out yet.
Oh, okay.
It's just sort of sitting there in the ring. Pivlich is, he's unfazed though, and he continues on. He says, and while you wait and enjoy the finest cuisine in the 10th, I am pleased to announce a surprise pre-fight performance. Please put your hands together in a warm Pivlichino's welcome for the beguiling, the bewitching, the mellifluous, Rare Lamoth. He extends his hand in your direction, Rare.
Rare takes one slow step up and reaches towards his hand and slowly makes her way to the center with him.
Okay, you walk out into the center, and all eyes are on you. Pivlich kind of slips out from the ring and into the shadows around it.
Rare kind of takes a slow turn around the ring just to kind of observe everything and everyone that's there. Kind of gives a really wide smile because she just knows that she loves doing this and loves seeing everybody looking at her. She hears a little bit of murmurs, so she kind of makes a little inner giggle and does this loud, harmonious hum that almost sounds like 5 people humming at the same time.
The projection makes sure that you're heard throughout the whole building. Go on.
And she finally gets a complete silence and makes a real loud laugh as she takes a deep breath as she practiced earlier. And she starts.
Please make
earlier.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, you can go.
I was going to say, please make a performance check. I wasn't going to have you recite the song lyrics again unless you really want to.
Oh, I was gonna do something different.
Oh, please do then. But make a performance check as you do.
Sounds good.
Go ahead. Hit us with your performance.
Okay. So she takes a deep breath once again. She goes, to keep some space from you, I don't control me anymore. No, I'm not the old one. No, I'm not the new one. But I'm aware of all the toxic things that you do that leaves me and believes me that when you see me, I'll be the free me, because I am free, freer than you ever see. I am living in my element. I won't be under your control, but no, not anymore will you see me. You'll see me in the heavens, you'll see me in the hells. I feel alive as all can be, but I won't ever be under your control, and you won't see me as no one. I love myself enough to keep some space from you. And she goes on, kind of sings that over and over again as she kind of gets lulls and lulls. But yeah, and then she kind of twirls herself around as she sings in every direction, making sure she makes eye contact with singular people and smiling, giving them little hints of winks here and there just to get people to be more engulfed by her.
Rare, the crowd seems a bit skeptical at first, but you launch yourself into your performance with such bravado that you can tell that you have you've at least quelled their displeasure at the fight not starting for now. You gain inspiration. Please mark that on your character sheet.
Sorry, gain inspiration. How do I do that?
So there should be a spot somewhere on your character sheet where you can mark down that you have inspiration. And what that does is it's essentially a little thing that you can save up so that at some later time, doesn't have to be this session or this night or whatever, some later time you can expend that inspiration to gain advantage on a particular check that you need to make. Could be an ability check or a saving throw, whatever it is that you think. When you've got to check a dice roll that you think, oh, hey, I'd really like this to go well, you can use that to have 2 chances at rolling well instead of 1.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so as Pivlich slips his way out of the ring, Sloane, you notice him looking up nervously at the top ring of patrons, trying to gauge their reaction to the sudden change of the act. And as he's scanning his eyes across them, you notice him stop, and he appears to be staring almost directly at you. His jaw is just hanging open. And after a moment, he just darts off down the corridor. You're not really sure what that was all about, and then Rare's performance sort of captivates you and takes you away. Meanwhile, Annika, you can scarcely believe your good fortune. The one and only Rare Lamoth has made a surprise performance here at Pivlichino's. She's as stunning as you remembered from the last time you watched her perform.
I'm completely overwhelmed and now trying to hide it at my table. Am I on mute? No.
Nope, you're good.
Because she doesn't want her family to notice. But she's just stunned and
so you're trying to control yourself and not let them see how much you care about it.
Yes, and she's also extremely relieved that there's been no spurting blood yet, because she really hates that part of coming here.
Well, Ral Zarek, he appears to be watching Rare's performance with great interest, and Tomik is kind of following along politely. Simon, he's scarcely paying any attention to any of it, and Fabio and Megara, they're kind of off in their own little world. They don't seem to be noticing much at all.
Yeah, she can't take her eyes off the stage, however.
All right, well, as you're fascinated by the performance, basking in Rare's glory, another patron is paying closer attention to Pivlich. Sloane, the tiefling singer, she has a magnificent voice and an alluring figure to match, but you find your attention following the imp's path instead. He hurriedly flits back to the head table, and he begins a heated discussion there with Agris and that young woman that came with him, Meliva. There's a lot of hand-wavering, a lot of gesturing, and then the conversation, it's too far away for you to hear it over the performance. But after a few minutes... one second. After a few minutes, you see Agris. He's walking away from the head table, and you trace his progress. He slowly climbs his way up the stairwell to the upper level, and he weaves his way back to your table.
Is that me?
This is going to be for Joe. I believe I have it labeled. Yeah.
Yep.
Joe, you with me? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, Sloane, do you have anything before we start?
I'm sorry. Can you say? I was distracted for a second. Can you say the last bit again?
So Agris has made his way back up to your table, and he was down at the head table for a while, but after he talked with Pivlich, he's worked his way back up to your table.
Hi, welcome back. I got your drink here for you. I hope you were able to settle things with Pivlichino down there, or Pivlich.
He kind of looks at the drink, and he nods and he says, of course. Try to relax. Enjoy the show. You can tell he's not up there for you. And he turns to Dars. He opens his mouth as if to speak, and then he stops himself as if looking for the right words.
Dars looks at him under furrowed brow. I know that look, close. Whatever it is, not interested.
I wouldn't be asking this of you if there were any other option, my friend.
Ask what?
He gestures to the ring. He keeps his voice low. He says, Dane Summer won't be here tonight. Pivlich needs a champion to fight the challenger in Dane's place.
He takes a look at Kos, he looks at the stage, and then kind of leans back in his seat, finishes off his ale, and sets the heavy mug, pretty hard onto the table. No.
He was getting paid a lot for this fight, Dars. I know you can't pass up that sort of money.
Seems like I just did.
Pivlich says the challenger is a nobody. He's some goon off the street that Dane was going to pulverize. You can crush him. Easy.
Retired is retired.
Agris sort of shrugs his shoulders like he is resigned. He says, I didn't want to have to do this, but you owe me for Zedru.
He slams his hand. Minotaurs being the huge beasts that they usually are, it almost cracks the table itself. He stands up and tips his stool over in the process. Pokes him straight in the chest. You bastard, you never speak a name again.
So the nearby patrons, they flinch back from the outburst. Agris sort of raises his hands defensively. He says, You're not leaving me a choice here. Pivlich needs this, Dars. Meliva needs this. I can't explain why, but the Legion needs this. Duty and honor, Fire Fist. You're getting in that ring.
He grabs Argus with one meaty hand, pulling him in close. And to words, Wojek. Since when have you ever cared about duty and honor?
Agris just stares him down without flinching. You care.
Takes a second and he stares him straight in the eyes and sees that he's not really budging on this fact. And with a snarl and a snort from his nose, balance the scales between us that goes. You never bring her up again. I owe you no more favors after tonight.
Agris, he staggers backwards as Dars pushes him away. He braces himself against the table, but he nods. He says, "Let's go tell Pivlich you're never paying to eat here again. That will lighten your mood."
Lets go of Kos and breaks out into a bit of a grin. You know, just might. At least for tonight, it'll be good to eat him out of house and home.
And then Agris and Dars, they leave the table. They head back down to the stairwell. And meanwhile, Bell is looking around at you, Sloane, and he says, "What the hell was that all about?"
I have no idea, but it looks like it's going to be a long night. I can't believe he got him to fight. And what was that stuff about a woman? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, I do, but I am not telling you.
Ugh.
It is a very, very long story.
And what are we doing here if not sitting at a table alone drinking all night?
Well, it's not exactly my story to tell, and you won't be getting it out of Dars or Agris. Everything that happened with Zedru happened before I was born. That's how far back this goes. Minute later, you witness another animated conversation there at the head table, and then Dars goes stalking off towards the bottom floor. Pivlich, he looks relieved, and he starts flying his way out into the arena. Rare, you're singing while captivating. It's starting to lose its effect on the restless crowd. But Pivlich, he's returned to the edge of the arena, and as your latest song winds down, you see him flapping back out onto the stage.
Rare finishes up her last act and then walks elegantly towards Pivlich and goes, much longer do you want me to do this for? I feel like the crowd is getting tired of me and I don't love that.
He sort of holds up his hands, and he flies out with you, and he looks up at the crowd, and with his amplified voice he says, "Isn't she magnificent? Let's hear it one last time for Rare Lamoth." You hear the crowd clapping and cheering, but they still seem a little bit restless. Some of them are clearly into you, and some of them are clearly only here for the fight.
Are there anybody like throwing coins down at her or anything?
No, I don't think there's anyone tossing anything into the arena, good or bad.
Okay.
Annika applauds a little too enthusiastically.
Yeah, let's hear the reactions to the performance from the players.
Very good.
Helio hits Javar on the chest check. Hey, she was pretty good, huh? She was pretty good.
Javor nods and takes another hit from the bong that you've got there. He's like, "Oh yeah, she's yeah."
Don't be too starstruck now, Javor.
Has anybody seen the waitress? We need more food over here.
Meanwhile, Pivlik continues. He says, "Now, I know what all of you are here are thinking. When will I get to see this lovely young woman perform again? And on that score, I have wonderful news. But first, I know that you are all waiting eagerly for our main event." The crowd cheers again. They're louder this time. A chant breaks out in the room. "Dane! Dane! Dane! Dane!" Pivlik takes a deep breath. He holds up his hands for calm. "My friends, I must share with you some terrible news. Dane Summer will not be able to fight tonight. He and his troop were delayed in returning to the 10th.
Boo.
Boo. Boo.
The crowd reacts with shock and dismay. There are scattered boos, thank you, and people calling out, a jumble of angry expressions. Pivlik holds up his hands again. "Calm yourselves, my friends. I was looking forward to watching Dane fight tonight as well, but this is Pivlichino's. I would never let you go home unhappy. There will still be a fight tonight, one you'd never imagine you'd see." And...
Annika deflates.
Oh, go ahead. Please.
It's in the chat.
She was getting happy because there wasn't gonna be a fight. No, she said.
He says, "And that's not all. I have for you all a very, very special opportunity. Tonight, I am here to announce the formation of Ravnica's newest performing troupe. Please give a round of applause for Pivlik's Players." The crowd, a couple of them are clapping. They're looking around expectantly. They're looking at the tunnel, trying to see whether or not someone's going to come out, and no one comes out of the tunnel. Pivlik continues, "And who's going to be part of Pivlik's Players? My lords, my ladies, you are." Now the crowd is thoroughly confused. There's some scattered laughter. Pivlik says, "It's no joke, my friends. Pivlik's Players will be putting on their inaugural performance tomorrow at the reenactment of the Clash of Champions. Yes, you heard that right. Sign up to be part of the Players tonight, and you will have the best seats in the house for tomorrow's festival event, because you will get to be out in the arena, taking part in the reenactment. Dress up in costume, swing some fake swords. You get to be a part of history." And that's not even the best part. You get paid. Sign up to be the player, and you will get paid for your participation in the event, plus you get a discount on drinks here at Pivlichino's for the entirety of the festival, plus you get free tickets for Dane's next prize fight here. So now the crowd's really getting into it, and they have 100 different conversations springing up at once. And Pivlik says, finally, he says, "My assistant and I will be coming around to every table to sign you up. Acting experience is not necessary. And if the gold and the drinks and the free tickets aren't enough to entice you, maybe this will. Our lead performer is none other than the supremely talented Rare Lamoth."
Rare stands up from her seat and kind of like waves a little bit, gives a smile, and sits back down.
And now,
Annika drops her fork.
okay. And now, my lords, my ladies, future members of Pivlik's Players, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Tonight's challenger is a vile, brutal, malodorous savage, a barbarous orc from the far provinces. Legend says that when he defeats his enemies, he cuts out their tongues and devours them. Put your hands together for Sludge the Silencer.
Comes
Helio.
out.
I was gonna say Helio kind of does like a slow clap.
Sludge.
Sludge come. Oh. Am I muted? Okay.
No, go for it.
All right. Sludge comes out slowly, almost like stalker-like, heading towards the ring. Still dressed in all black, still bowed down with his cape covering his face. When he gets to the ring, he slowly draws his head up, unveils his hood, and everyone sees the skull of the stag that he wears as a mask as he's looking down. He takes off his hood, shows off his bulging muscles, and starts flexing and starts getting charged up and ready for a fight.
The crowd's a mixture of cheers and jeers. And after several moments, Pivlich starts speaking again. Second. He says, "And tonight's champion, you knew him once as the brash young bull of the Boros Legion. You watched him win bout after bout with his sword, his fire, and his deadly horns. Now welcome back for one encore performance, the Destroyer, the Demolisher, the Devastator, Dars Gostok." Dars emerges from the tunnel. He's wearing just ordinary plain clothes. His worn down horns, they've got shiny metal spikes affixed to the end of them. And at his belt, he's got a steel sword. The crowd goes absolutely wild at the sight of him. Sludge, any reaction?
At first glance, he doesn't look too amused. Then all of a sudden, he starts smelling some weird odor behind him. He starts turning around, and he looks to see these people standing near a table. And he starts looking at the one elephant dude, and he starts doing a sniffing notion to this elephant man. And then he gives the motion of if he's smoking. Do you want me to roll anything?
Oh no, all attention is on you, so I'm sure that Helio sees what you're doing.
Also, aren't we on the upper level?
Yeah, but he can both the upper and lower levels can be seen from the ring area. I pretty much presume that when the fight is going on, people are crowding around the balcony, sort of, and looking down. Even if all of the chairs don't have a view, people get up to watch the fight like that.
Is he sniffing in appreciation or is he sniffing in derision?
Well, he's looking your way.
No, Sludge. What's the
Sludge? What does it look like?
Sludge wants to take his nerves off a little bit, and he's wondering if that's where the odor is coming from, and he's asking for a hit.
Helio pats his pockets, finds a small wooden pipe, stuffs it, tosses it down to the arena for him.
Sludge catches it, thanks Trunks, and then he takes a big rip, but he doesn't exhale. And then he tosses the pipe back up. Then he looks at Silk and gives him a wink.
Gives him a nod right back. Knock him dead, Sludge!
Sludge starts cracking his neck, cracking his knuckles, and he's getting ready for the big fight.
Helio taps Sludge. So good. You know this guy?
Nah, I only just met him on the way in. But, I mean, come on. Look at the dude. He's got a freaking stag for a helmet.
Yeah, but the other guy is a stag for a head.
I don't know. Didn't he say that this guy's coming out of retirement to be here because they can't bring out their prize fighter? I mean, come on. They were already going to bring out Dean, who had already been a year off from fighting, apparently. They're going to bring out this jackal? Come on.
Well, I have my money on Sludge anyway, so let's go, newcomer. Yeah.
Pivlik, he's flown from the ring, and he is flown back to the head table, and he's replaced in the ring by a burly Leonin. So you recognize this guy from previous fights that you've done, Sludge. His name is Hodari. So Hodari, he walks out into the ring and he addresses you and Dars, and through the voice augmentation, everyone in the arena can hear him speaking. He says, "Gentlemen, this will be a 10-minute exhibition fight broken up into 5 rounds of 2 minutes each. If neither fighter has yielded at the end of 5 rounds, winner will be determined by judge's decision. There will be no uncontrolled magics. Harm to the audience or the venue can subject you to disqualification." Rare, you notice that Jury kind of snorts and rolls his eyes when he hears that. The Leonin continues. He says, "No healing magics of any kind. If one of you suffers a lethal blow, I will revive you, and the bout will be over. As tradition dictates, the first round is brawling only. Return to your corners, set down your weapons, and when I signal, begin fighting. Understood?"
Sludge does a quick nod. And just still does a death stare to Dars.
So you set down your axe, and you come back, and Rajko, he grabs you by the shoulder and he speaks directly into your ear over the roar of the crowd. He says, "The bets are still live. You gotta make it to round 5 or we're ruined. Now go give 'em hell."
Sludge does a quick
Nope.
nod.
That did not do what I wanted it to. Sorry.
I was just saying, Sludge does a quick nod and he stares back at Dars.
All right. Sludge, you turn and step back into the illuminated circle. You hear the crowd chanting for Dars and for you. The inhibitor at your waist, it thrums it as it activates, prickling your skin. You feel invincible. Better, you feel alive. Across the ring, Dars stamps at the ground, bending his waist, lowering his shoulders and glowering at you, grinding his teeth. Hodari raises his hand, and the crowd goes still and silent. His hand snaps down. "Fight!" Roll for initiative.
So, initiative.
Here
So
we
there
go,
is
here we
a
go.
combats tab, a combat encounters tab here. The 2 crossed swords. I think you can click your die within that tab. I hope I'm not the only one who has control over that, but this is my first time doing this with Foundry, so... Can you click your die inside this
It
tab
gives
or
me,
no?
when I click on the die, it says advantage, normal, disadvantage. I just do normal?
Normal.
Okay. No,
Oh my
God.
Great start. Wonderful.
But at least it's only the initiative roll. It's not terrible.
Fight!
So, in the interest of
Oh.
In the interest of time, this is the way we're going to handle this combat. You and your opponent each get 3 turns per round of the fight. So the inhibitors that you're wearing, they reduce the first 5 damage of any successful attack that gets made to keep the fight going a little bit longer. And in between each round, we'll be checking in with the audience. So the rest of you are welcome to cheer on the fighters as we're doing the different roles here, okay?
Okay.
So here we go. We're getting started, and it looks like Dars has won the initiative. So,
One thing to note as well, Neil, I
Mhm.
had moved a few things around. So if you have like Dars selected and hover over Sludge, you should be able to hit key to actually target that, and that'll help with a couple other rolls.
Oh, okay. I'll see if I can make that happen. So for the first round of the fight, as soon as Hidari snaps his hands down and yells "fight" and backs out of the way, the Minotaur, he dashes forward. He's seeking you to overpower you immediately. He lowers his head and he drives his horns straight at your belly. Now I have to figure out how to actually make this roll for the horns. Did that... No.
So you should be able to just click that 1d6 that's in the chat, and then
Yes,
just add
got
a
it.
strength mod to it after.
Will it do it automatically?
No.
No.
So whatever strength mod is to that.
Well, wait, this isn't for damage. I need to do with the attack roll.
Okay, then that part just any attack then. So I don't think
Probably-
there was
probably
like an unarmed strike on him.
Yeah,
Probably
it is
D20
an
plus
unarmed strike, but I'm looking for what to click on the sheet to make it happen.
Why don't you just do a strength check? Because that would be 1d20 plus your strength modifier.
Well, it should be with proficiency also. Guess I can-
Proficiency adds 2.
2, so I guess I can click the saving throw thing. All right. Well, I guess I'll click that. No, that didn't do anything. Sorry, I'm new to this part of this. All right. Well, we'll just roll it.
If you have the character sheet open, the circle underneath strength, it adds proficiency if it's checked off, and then you could use it like that.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, I've made the roll. So he charges and he tries to gore you with his horns. He makes contact with you, but the armor that you're wearing, you didn't even feel a thing. You remember that when you were back in the rooms earlier, your new friend Silk, he had been looking at your armor, and he rubbed some sort of like oil on it that he said would help you out. You're not really sure what that was, but whatever it was, when you take the full force of the Minotaur's horns to your stomach, don't even feel a thing. No damage.
All right. Now, do you want me to roll or?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was supposed to hit this begin combat, and now I hit skip, and now that makes it your turn.
All right. So. Nope. Trying to see where I can roll, or do I do like a strength check?
It's
Yeah.
unarmed combat, right?
Yes, right now this should be an unarmed combat roll. If we can figure out how to make that happen.
I'm working on that at the moment.
I think you're right that hitting the word, if you put the check mark below strength on your sheet, that should give you your strength
Proficiency,
modifier plus your proficiency, and so it'll make a strength roll. I believe you're going to be at like 1d20 plus 5 here.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Okay, so look at your sheet, and on your attributes tab, you see where it says strength?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a check mark below the number 17.
Yeah, proficiency.
Yeah, so turn that circle into a check mark.
Okay. All right.
And now click the word strength, and let's see what happens.
It says ability check or saving throw. So ability check.
Sure, ability check.
And then normal.
Yes, always normal.
All right.
Okay, so it looks like it did not add the proficiency to that, but it would only be another +2, and so neither of those is enough for you to make contact with the Minotaur.
Sorry, I'm just testing. Are you kidding me?
That's the roll that he
Really?
wanted, man. That's what he
know.
wanted. You
I know.
stole it from him.
I know. Oh,
Actually, I think you stole it from Dars, so maybe you're helping him out.
I stole it for myself.
It's true. All right. Dars, he tries to like wrap his arms around you as you attempt to punch him, and he like just shrugs it off. He tries to lift you up off the ground. So make an athletics check. Again, normal. Dars
Oh my
picks
God.
you up off the ground like you're completely insignificant, like he's lifting a small child. He lifts you up over his head and he slams you down against the ground. You
Sludge.
feel like it hurts. It hurts pretty bad, but you didn't seem to take any damage from it.
and I'm like, like writhing in pain, acting like it's the worst pain he's ever felt, but not try to make it look like it's unrealistic. Trying to make it look like it's the worst pain that he's ever felt in his life.
It does not require much of your imagination.
And then he looks at Dars and he's like, no. And then I can do my next attack move, or
You
is there
can.
anything else you want?
You can.
Okay.
You did not actually lose your footing when you landed back down. You kind of like bounced back up off the ground quickly, so you are not
Okay.
prone.
So another strength check.
Yeah, go ahead and this time just roll it as a saving throw, and
Okay.
You can also roll what I sent you in Discord. That should work.
You both also
I-
should now have a unarmed strike item in your inventory.
aha. I wonder why that's not there by default.
It should be, but I don't know if it's under a different name of some sort or something.
It's because it's not technically equipment.
Yeah.
Sludge.
Yeah,
What
could
was
you check
your
my DM
strike?
for a second?
I don't see a DM from you.
From Discord.
Yeah, but I didn't get it. Whatever you
I think
tried
you
to
sent
send
it
me.
to
Oh.
me, Arlen.
Oh, whoops. I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say,
I don't know.
would blowing smoke in someone's face be considered an action?
You could do that as a bonus. That's fine. Like that doesn't
Okay.
take up your normal anything. It's not going to have any effect. It's
Okay.
just for cosmetic purposes. You can do kind of whatever you
Okay.
want for the
So as
the acting, the flourishing. I won't like penalize you for whatever you do there.
Gotcha. So as I quickly get up, I immediately stare at Dar's face, and I blow the smoke that I took from that huge rip from Helio, blinding him for a second, and then starts with a vicious punch right into Dar's old flabby gut.
So he actually like is kind of taken by surprise as all of that smoke just boils up in his face. He coughs a couple of times and is like shaking his head to kind of clear it. And as you're just wailing away on this guy's gut, you're like punching him over and over again, and you're connecting solidly, but it doesn't seem to be doing any damage. The inhibitor is enough to prevent any of this hurt from getting through to him. He looks
Then-
really... Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. Then for a moment, Sludge looks up to the crowd and gives a thumbs up to Helio.
He looks at you and he just kind of snarls and he swings his fist directly at your face. Just pulls back and tries to punch you in the face. I still can't figure out how to roll this. Unarmed strike. Did it?
It should just be.
So it's in the inventory. I have a die marker next to it. When I click on it, nothing happens.
Yeah, I've been trying into my character sheet too, just to test.
Interesting.
Interesting. Well, I'm just going to do it the other way for now. We can figure it out later.
Yeah.
Dars, he rears back and he just smacks the shit out of your face. Like, you take it right on the chin, you stagger backwards. It is the sort of blow that would have knocked out a lesser man, or pretty much anyone not wearing one of those fancy inhibitors. You take 1 damage.
I take so I just go down. I just take 1 from my hit points, correct?
Yep. Would have been a lot more, but the inhibitor prevented the first 5.
Sludge shakes his head, knows he got a little bit wobbled, and then he just stares at Dwars menacingly, like the psychotic being that he is, looking at him, and he just gives out this heinous laugh, like, and then he gets ready to start with his next attack.
It is your action. Again, you attempt to strike at him using all of your strength. You manage to land some contact, but he doesn't seem to be fazed by it at all. The crowd is excited, though, watching the two of you go back and forth, trading punches. So when Hidari holds up his arm and calls time for the round, there is some scattered boos and disappointment. Both of you... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Sludge keeps on charging while he's being held back by the referee, and he pulls out his hand and does the come after me, bro, as he's getting retreated back to his side.
Both of you head back to your corners, looking to retrieve your weapons. The opening round of the fight has consumed the attention of nearly every patron in the room, but for one eager fan, the fight was a mere afterthought. Annika, mostly unnoticed by the bloodthirsty crowd, Rare Lamoth slips from the ring and back down the tunnel. She returns to the head table. Her companions they're engrossed by the combat. As usual, no one from your table would notice if you slipped away. You realize this might be your best chance to talk to her.
She's going to gulp and sort of put her hands over her mouth, and then she's gonna swallow really hard. She's gonna stand up and she's gonna kind of quietly slip backwards away from the table and edge her way to the head table. She's gonna come around to the side where Rare is, kind of on the corner. It's in between Myleva and Rare. She's feeling really anxious. So she kind of looks at the floor and then looks up at Rare and gives her a little wave if she can catch her eye from maybe 6 or 7 feet away to see if she's going to be ignored or welcomed. She's not sure that it's okay to just go over and can't get my little character. There she goes. And interrupt like that, kind of like this.
So Rare is kind of just drinking her wine, not really paying attention to the fight. But she does see something in the corner of her eye. Do I have to make a check for that, or just like, do I see her?
You don't need to make a check. Well,
Okay.
Annika, are you intentionally hiding yourself from Rare? If so, you would make a stealth check.
No, she's just trying to be polite, kind
Mhm.
of.
So Rare
Not barge up to her.
sees something in the corner of her eye, kind of slowly turns and meets the eyes of a girl. She kind of smiles, and a warming smile, and maybe see if she wanted to come closer, but just kind of give her like a warm smile to maybe see if she seemed to want to have a little conversation due to Rare having just performed. So maybe she wanted to have a quick conversation.
Taking that as an invitation, Annika's going to kind of step a little closer, and she says, "Hey, I'm Annika. Are you Rare, Lamont?"
I
And then
am Rare. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Then go ahead.
So she smiles at her back and she goes, I am Rare Lamoth, and it's really nice to meet you, Annika.
Hi. I wanted to tell you I really love your lyrics. I never asked before. Do you write them yourself?
I do. I write them myself. I find inspiration when I'm all alone, and sometimes I just kind of sit back and kind of write lyrics that are kind of in my head and just kind of start singing. Kind of effortless. It's really funny. Tries to giggle to make it kind of like a more warmer conversation, seeing that she's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw you before once. It was amazing, but this time was even better because you sang for a lot longer. I'm
I
sorry
know.
the lyric.
Sorry to always interrupt you, but yeah, like she kind of leans forward in a whispering, yelling way since it's kind of loud in the area. So she kind of comes closer, kind of giving more like less space in between them two, and kind of says, I kind of had to do it, and rolls her eyes and kind of giggles and maybe tries to see if she will warm up to her as well.
Annika giggles a little bit too, although she's like she's a little overwhelmed, so she doesn't quite follow. She's just a little bit shocked at the moment. And she says, I'm sorry, a lot of your lyrics are sad. They should be happy. I hope you are happy most of the time. And then she like covers her mouth and she's like, because now she's embarrassed because that's a very personal statement.
Rare kind of, her face goes from slightly frowned to back to happy and said, sometimes they are sad and sometimes they're happy. Most of the time sad, which is really funny because, yeah, but sometimes you have things to hide and people might be invested in it, people might not be invested in it. It's all up to perception, right?
Yeah. And then Annika just says, I gotta go. I'm working. And she's just gonna kind of run away almost. If there's chance for you to respond before she gets away, though.
Rare kind of sees her run off and kind of also giggles and kind of in a warm giggle and kind of knows that this is probably one of the very in a ironic way rare instances where it's a genuine conversation and somebody who actually genuinely cares for her, and kind of whispers, Annika, I like that one, and kind of goes back to sipping her wine.
And as Annika makes her escape, Rare, you see Pivlik. He has returned to the table at the end of this round of combat. He looks exhausted, like all of the tension that had been building up inside of him has drained out completely. He comes to a stop in front of Maliva and he says, "All right, trooper, you can dispense with the cloak now. We'll go table to table to get people signed up. Olivier!" And from seemingly nowhere, the Major D, he appears at the head table, and he says, "Here, sir," and he's carrying a stack of hastily scrawled contracts. And Pivlik nods, and he turns to Jury and he says, "Care to try your hand at acting, my friend?" The Jury laughs, and he holds up his hands. He shakes his head. He says, "Lysolda would put me on the rack if I turned down her invitation for tomorrow. And I have my own preparations to make, but I may be able to offer some of the review's performers if you can't find enough tonight." Pivlik nods, and he turns to you, Rare, and he says, "Oh, as the inaugural member of Pivlik's Players, would you join me as we make our rounds? I'm certain you can convince our more reluctant patrons to sign up."
She kind of looks him dead in the eyes and kind of laughs and says, "I'm pretty sure if they see me, they might actually just say yes without any consequences."
That's the idea.
I guess I can join you. Maybe it might be fun.
Splendid. We'll start on this level, and then we'll work our way upstairs. Pivlik looks around. And I know just where to start. And he leads the group of you over in the direction of Fabio's table. As your group arrives at one of the tables on the lower level, there's a fancily dressed gentleman with pale skin, and he is ferociously cheering on the fight. He doesn't have anyone in his lap anymore. He claps his hands excitedly as you walk up. "Pivlik! About time you stopped by. I heard your little speech out there, and with the utmost humility, I accept." He makes an exaggerated bow. "I would be happy to stand in for my great-great-great-great-great ancestor, Enizescu, in the Obsidian." And Pivlik smiles and he gestures. He says, "Of course, Lord Fabio. If you would just sign one of these contracts." And,
Annika, oh, go ahead.
Not quite yet. Thank you. Maliva kind of looks at the parchment and she says, we don't need anyone to act as the Obsidian. According to the legend, they weren't really part of the battle. They just hid in the basement of Orzova until it was over. And Fabio turns to her and his tone's really snippy. He says, "Drat. Well, surely you have someone representing the Orzhov Syndicate. They were a significant part in the battle." Maliva runs her hand down the list of names. She says, "Absolutely, sir. All 9 guilds have a faction of actors. The Orzhov are being led by Sveta Karlov. Rare, please make an intelligence check."
Sorry, give me a second.
Of course.
Intelligence,
Actually,
you said?
it should be a history check, excuse me.
Okay. I was like, where is intelligence? Sorry.
Oh, you actually recognize that name. Sveta Karlov was one of the earliest known members of the Karlov family and the earliest known vampire from the Orzhov Guild. And Fabio, he lets out a little squee of excitement. He says, "Even better! What an honor to be asked to play the greatest vampire of the Orzhov. And the Karlovs will blow a gasket to see me out there rather than one of their own." Annika?
Annika puts her face in her hands and then she looks up and she's like, this is in the stadium, right?
Right, in Rokirik Arena. Tomorrow.
Yeah, Uncle. It's in the stadium.
Yeah.
It's outside.
Oh. Bugger. Well, accommodations will have to be made. Trooper, tell them to construct a roof for the arena to block out the sunlight.
Annika puts her head on the table.
Maliva just sort of stares at Fabio. She says, that won't be possible. And
Annika is embarrassed because Rare is seeing this.
Megara, she speaks up. I'll do it! Me! I can be Sveta! She sort of strikes a pose in her seat. She peels back her lips as if she has fangs. You always said I was destined to be a star. But Fabio, he shakes his head emphatically. He says, No. I'll need you by my side in case I get hungry. If I can't participate, then I will watch the festivities from one of the private boxes out of the pesky sunlight. Simon? Simon doesn't bother glancing up from his meal. I'd rather die, he grunts. Mm-hmm. And Fabio frowns. He says, well, someone from our household needs to play Sveta. He looks around the table until his eyes light on you, Annika.
Her eyes get big. She's like, oh no.
He's nodding his head here. But you must think of how annoyed Asa will be at seeing an Anizescu as the star of the show instead of a Karloff.
I think Megara should do it.
Rare kind of leans a little bit to the right-ish, kind of where nobody can kind of see her head, and she kind of nods her head and whispers, you can do it.
Annika shakes her head harder. No. We'll give you a big hat, Uncle.
Fabio just waves his hand. Nonsense. It's settled. Pivlich, hand her a contract.
And then she's like, hiding in her not hideable seat. It's not possible to hide on a stool.
She just sort of scrunches back, and Olivier approaches and extends a contract in your direction.
I'm really not good at
Life.
people things. And, I can't do this, Uncle. Mm-mm.
Fabio crosses his arms, says, Annika, sign the contract.
She glares at him and she's like, she's really glaring at him. She's like, she narrows her eyes and she says, I wish I could say you can't make me.
He's glaring at you. He's giving you that glare when he's trying to compel you to do something. It's never worked before.
Question.
Yes.
Could I do charm person on her?
You could, but I would prefer not to do persuasion among player characters.
Gotcha.
I know you guys aren't technically a party yet, but that's one of the things I try to avoid doing is letting characters use their abilities to take away the free will of the other characters. Fabio's doing a fine job compelling her to do this regardless.
Okay.
Annika?
Annika says, Uncle, you don't have... And then she stops because she doesn't want to say that in front of everybody. She knows he'll get upset. And then she realizes, wait, I absolutely want to make him upset. And she says, you don't have psychic powers.
He glares at her harder.
She's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
The contract, Annika.
Are you going to tell grandfather on me?
If I have to.
She like bites her lip and she's like, fine. She puts a big, messy A on the page.
Fabio, he claps his hands. He says, "How exciting! Tonight when we go home, I'll teach you all about how to be a vampire."
No, that's okay. I've been studying you for a long time now. I'm good.
Fabio almost immediately loses interest in you because Hodari has come out to begin the second round of the fight. We will roll a fresh initiative for this round, Sludge.
All right. Combat.
Sludge.
Yeah.
Now his die knocked this one into a 19, so we get to take that roll, right?
Oh,
What's with the 0.12? Does anyone know?
So
So no.
that's to break ties for rolls that were the same number and tokens that had the same dex.
But it seems
Okay.
to be like a flat 0.12 that it adds to every one of them. It's not actually a random number.
I gotta look into that part because it should be random.
Yeah, there's got to be something weird about the formula.
So it's JavaScript using slash random.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's like how Among Us randomizes the rolls, right? And you just keep getting the same one.
Yeah.
All right, so Dars, he stalks towards the center of the ring. He's got a smile on his face. He looks at you, Sludge. He says, "I've still got ale to drink, so I'll make this quick." He lifts up the longsword that's in his right hand. He holds it over his head, and it bursts into flame. The crowd, they go crazy. They're chanting his name. Dars, 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 Dars. But it appears that you are going to get to take the first action here. As he's flourishing with his sword, the round has started. Hodari brings his hand down and calls on you to fight.
Sludge looks at Dars, unamused by the flaming sword, and he tells Dars that I'm going to milk this all in. Looks at Dars if he enjoys it, if he finds that joke amusing.
Dars does not seem to recognize your humor.
And then he smirks. He's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to butcher you more than I butchered that joke." Sludge then pulls up his great axe, the Corpse Maker, and I wouldn't call it more of a great axe. It's more like a cleaver that he stole from his father after he murdered him when he was a teenager back in the camp that he was in. So for my bonus action, I'm going to use Rage.
All right. You have entered a rage, and as a Path of the Beast barbarian, that means that at this time you can choose to make one of your body parts more animalistic and gain a secondary attack with it.
It's for fighting, my bad. All right. So I'm going to use Bite as my transformation.
Okay.
So can I do the throw first, the attack first, then kind of describe?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and describe it.
So what he's going to do is he starts he charges at Dwars. He starts swinging, holding both hands on the Corpse Maker. He does one forward hands dashes. Then he goes back with his backhand swings. Then while that happens, he is hip to Dwars, spins around to his backside. He outflanked him. Then he grabs the Corpse Makers and holds Dwars back. So basically, he's strangling Dwars, and he can't move his shoulders, his arms to kind of defend the attack. Then all of a sudden, Sludge bellows from his belly, this huge roar. His mouth starts opening up and starts transforming into his weird unhinged jaw with these large sharp teeth, and sinks his mouth onto Dwar's trapezoid muscles.
All right, so Sludge is attempting to bite Dars's trapezius in his shoulder, and as he uses an elaborate sequence to get past Dars's guard while he's not paying attention. Go ahead and roll your attack.
So with rage, I have a modifier with that one.
So with rage, you get a +2 bonus to your damage if you connect, but I don't believe it improves your attack.
Okay, so it'd still be one. Oh wait, R.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to
+3.
remind you of one of your abilities here, which is called Reckless Attack. You have the option to gain advantage on melee attack rolls, but until your next round, anyone who attacks you has advantage on rolls back to you. So essentially, you can choose whether you and your opponent roll twice on your attacks.
Okay. I'll probably do that for my next turn. Reckless attack, because since I'm using the bite.
Yeah, you choose each round. So for the bite attack this round, just make a normal roll then, no advantage.
Okay.
You need the slash to be at the beginning.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You can also just make your this would be the same roll as the unarmed strike. We'll just roll damage differently.
His would be with a 1d8, but I think...
No, the damage would be different, but the attack roll is the same, right?
Needed that one.
All right. So you notice as you get close to Dars that he's not. You noticed obviously earlier that he wasn't even wearing armor, but as you get close to him, you notice that beyond the inhibitor is another magical force field. It's a pretty common spell, Mage Armor, that he's wearing in place of an actual suit of armor. But as you bite into his shoulder, you go right through the inhibitor, you go right through the mage armor, and you make solid contact. Please roll damage.
So damage would be...
So I sent you that Path of the Beast thing earlier. I don't know what the actual the bite damage is from that ability. Let me double check.
I'm dropping it in.
1d8 piercing damage.
Okay, so it should be 1d8, and I'm pretty sure you'll also get your strength.
Yep. So you should have bite in there right now, actually.
Okay, so this 1d8 was a roll of 4, and your strength on top of that gives you another 3, and your you raged, right? Yeah, you had to. So that gives you another 2. That's a total of 9. The inhibitor takes away the first 5. So you're dealing 4 damage to him, and I believe that means that the you also regain 4 hit points, or you regain, never mind, this says you have to have less than half your hit points when you hit, so your bite does not regain anything because you're still too healthy. But
so after Sludge takes
go ahead, go do it.
So after Sludge takes his bite, he hears the large yelp from Dwars after that hit. He rips his Sludge whips his head back, face covered with blood, starts stumbling backwards, starts smearing his face, covering his mouth, sees the blood, starts laughing maniacally, and then laps the blood off his hand.
Ars looks at you in shock, like just completely surprised that you managed to get a hit on him at all, let alone that you turned into some weird creature that could bite through his shoulder. He comes forward with his flaming sword. He pretends to slash at your midsection and then lowers the attack, slashing at your front leg. And once again, clicking this die roll doesn't seem to do anything for this long sword in his inventory. How can I do this?
You need to target.
Right, target, that's right. Okay, so click this and hit T, and now hit the die roll.
Yep, there should be some little arrows in the corners, it looks like, because I can see your little...
Dars Gostock is 5.3 away, and your range is only 5. Really? Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Now you're on
it's
top
kind
of
the
him.
way the map is.
Okay.
Now you should be close enough.
No. What is happening here?
I think you need to target him again after you moved.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
the icon. So yeah, get a little closer.
Okay, so put them on top of each other.
Right.
I'm trying to select
Target
his token. I hit T, and then I hit the roll. What the hell? Did this
Sorry, I think
did this
you and I are
roll
doing it at
happen?
the same time.
It happened.
Okay.
I had just done that one.
Okay, well we'll use this one. The attack bonus is wrong though. Should be at +6. There's no proficiency. Regardless, it looks like it's a hit, and it rolled the damage. The damage looks like it might be correct. No, the damage isn't correct. I mean, I'm just going to do this manually for this fight. We'll use this for this roll, but I'll proceed with the next one. So Arland, your Sludge feels the longsword slash against his thigh. The inhibitor seems to reduce some of the burn from the fire that slashes across you, but you feel it score a hit, slicing your thigh open and leaking a trickle of blood out. You take 2 damage. This 9 got reduced by 5 by the inhibitor, and while you're raging, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which means the other 4 got reduced by 2, cut in half.
Okay, so I'm down to 23.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sludge, after feeling that hit, immediately looks down at his thigh. He goes down to one knee. Kind of like not in shock, but is like kind of like amazed, just feeling that burning sensation that took some notable damage, like to keep him aware of the watch out for that sword. All right, and then so to use my weapon, I just click on Dars.
Yep, and then click T to target him. And then you should see a little corner icon.
Where do you see Weemy? Like just press the
letter
T button to. Okay. And then do I hit roll or something, or do I type it
You
in?
would just click the icon for the weapon that you want to use.
Okay. All right. So that's not really that much of a damage.
The attack did not succeed, so the damage will not be taken. Your axe swing glances off of him, and you wish that maybe you had used that reckless attack. This attack wasn't enough. It's going to be more for you to. You're going to need more to defeat this guy.
Sludge is kind of disappointed with that hit, kind of shocked, and he's like, shit. And then now for Dwars' attack.
He snarls. He jumps forward at you, and he slams his sword down into your shoulder. What's your AC? I think it's 16.
AC?
Yes, your armor class.
Oh, yes, 16.
Okay. This is a hit, and he... He He deals damage. It looked like it was 5 from the fire damage. So that is what gets reduced first by the inhibitor. So the remaining 10 comes through. The sword slams into you. You feel it bite into your skin, and you take 5 damage in total after your resistance is factored in.
So down to 18.
Right.
Sludge screams in agony and starts clutching his collarbone where the wound was at.
One more
Starts
action
rubbing
this
his
round.
Okay.
Just try to accelerate things a bit since we're over time.
Yep. Okay. And a action.
Again,
Sludge.
would you like to? You sure you didn't want to do that reckless attack and roll it at advantage?
I'll do it for next round.
Okay. Sludge swings his great axe again and completely whiffs. The Minotaur, no longer quite as infuriated by the bite, is amused by your plaintive flailing in the arena. He steps back and he sort of flourishes to the crowd, and then he raises his hand towards you and chants a quick incantation. You hear a crack of thunder, and a wave of force washes over you.
Aww.
Alright, so he casts this thunder wave spell at you. Please make a Constitution saving throw.
I think it should prompt you since you're in the template.
Constitution saving throw. Then normal, right?
Yes. You have saved, so you take, I think, half of this damage. Okay, so this is 12 damage reduced to 6, and then the inhibitor reduces it by another 5. So you will only take 1 damage from this. Alright, you have... that was it for this round of the combat.
Yep.
Hodari steps forward, he calls time, and you guys have a moment to catch your breath. And as the second round draws to a close, the upper levels dissolve into a mess of conversation an argument over which fighter's going to prevail. Although so far it seems like everyone's assuming that it's going to be Dars.
Sludge, you gotta actually hit the fool to actually put him down.
Helio, you notice a group of individuals approaching your table. You recognize Pivlich and Rare from their time in the ring. They're joined by a Boros soldier and one of the attendants carrying a stack of contracts. The soldier looks at you intently. She says, "Well met, Loxodon. Will you play in tomorrow's Clash of Champions?"
I might need to check my... Javor, can we do this tomorrow? Do
Javor...
you have that thing?
Javor looks and he's like, well, we were going to be there anyway, right?
Yeah, okay, sure. We'll do it.
She looks and she says, oh, thank you. We really needed a Loxodon to perform the role of Saint Sergius, hero of the Conclave. And
wait, I'm gonna be
there are
Saint
so
Sergius?
few. You're going to be Saint Sergius.
Oh, I'm so excited. Javor, did you hear that? I'm gonna be Saint Sergius.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Saint Serge, dude. Who's that?
Yeah, he's that guy, you know? He's the guy.
As a Loxodon, you are well aware that Saint Sergius was one of the foremost leaders of the Selesnians during the time of the Clash of Champions. He was the first person ever awarded the title of Living Saint.
He's the first living saint. You know, he was part of the what was the first competition?
The Clash of Champions.
He was part of the first Clash of Champions. You know, he's a big deal. He's a hero to the Loxodons.
Jiren, she also looks really excited. She says, I'd love to join. I can't believe I could actually be a part of this. And Maliva nods at her as she gets handed a contract, and then she turns towards you, Silk, and she says, and you? Will you join us?
Huh? Sorry, I was a little distracted when you were going through the what is this thing? Clash of Champions? What's
Well,
that?
surely you know the Clash of Champions is happening tomorrow. It's a reenactment of the great battle that led to the Guild Pact. And the people who were going to be acting in it won't be able to make it. So we're giving all of you the opportunity to be in it instead as reenactors.
Come
I
on,
think I
Silk,
heard
it'll be
something
fun.
around something about discounted food and drink if we participate in this.
Pivlich chimes in. He says, yes, anyone who signs up gets free drinks and discounts the next time they're here. And when we do have Dane Summer arrive and go for his next fight, you get tickets for free. Plus, if you
Perfect.
take
Where
a
do I
speaking
sign?
role, you get paid even more.
I'd like to find a coin. So, what's available, or is this more of a like you choose for me?
Maliva says, you would be perfect to play Premick of the Is It.
You got anybody in the Orzhov? I mean, that's kind of where I hail.
I did not a lot of goblins historically in the Orzhov.
It's only because we're usually caught underfoot. It's no problem. I'm not taking any offense.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks nervously. Well, you could always just be like a regular Orzhov reenactor, but then I'll have to find another goblin.
What was your first pick there? This
Premick.
This is Joe forgetting the name you just said.
Premick. It's okay.
Premick. Yeah, you can go ahead and sign me up for that. I'll be able to give him a good run for the month.
And yeah, contracts get handed out all around. More patrons are approaching. They're claiming contracts. They're really excited. And in the ring, it looks like the third round is about to begin. Sludge, you ready? Go ahead and
Yes, I'm ready.
go ahead and roll for initiative. Weird, dragging the screen all around.
Yep, sorry.
That's fine. All right, Sludge, you get to go first.
All right, so I go into rage, and all of a sudden, starting from my tailbone, a long, spiky, almost serpent-like tail shoots out, and he starts whipping it around, and you hear a large crack to the sand, just to let Dwars know that he's ready to come after him. So he starts charging, and I'm gonna use the Corpse Maker for his first attack. Do it. Oh, range is 5.
Just
You need
just
to edge your token slightly closer.
Okay.
I'll know for next time that I need to set the range on the scene. All right, that is a hit. All right, you strike him, and he feels the damage beyond the inhibitor. Your total was 9, so he takes another 4 damage as the great axe slams into him for the first time, having an effect. He smiles at you. He rather than even swing his sword your way, he just holds up his one hand, and he starts chanting as his hand glows with unnatural fire. I have to hit the target thing again. 1 second. Okay.
Now, Gab, before you do the roll, it says, for my tail, if a creature you can see within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swipe your tail and roll a d8, applying a bonus to your AC equal to your number roll, potentially causing the attack to miss you. So
Do you
I
have
want
a
to do
tail?
that. Like, yeah, I just said that I have the path of the beast, so I have a tail.
It's the
whip.
second rage here to spawn a tail.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, did that roll come through? Yes, it did, but it completely misses you. The Minotaur appears to have gotten overconfident, and the searing ball of flame he sends at you shoots off and splatters against the ground. You seem to... He seems to be off balance as your tail kind of like causes him to trip a little bit, and you make your next roll at advantage.
Okay. So Sludge dodges that fire attack, and he goes on all fours to get to his flank and uses his tail to whip at his feet to try to trip him up. So I do the attack first, right? Just a regular attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so /R D20 plus.
I dropped in a tail item for you to use. You want to use that?
Yes. And now, can I use my relenting attack?
You can use the reckless attack to...
Reckless.
Yeah. So you can make the roll at advantage. Anytime you want to make a roll at advantage, just do it, as long as you're part of... Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I just hit the icon, but I didn't give me the option to do advantage.
Well, it's okay. You didn't need the advantage, but you declared you were
okay.
taking it anyway. So regardless, you should roll the other die in case you get a critical hit. Actually, so go ahead and roll another d20.
So just
roll
backslash.
d20, and we'll see if you get a 20. Just R1 d20. That's all that we need.
Oh, R1 D20. Sorry.
I think R d20 would work too. I'm not sure, but nope. Okay, so you still have a hit here, and so the damage still happens to him. He takes the hit, and he loses a couple more hit points. He actually got knocked over by your tail attack, and he's down on the ground. Rather than get up, he takes his great axe and he takes his sword and he swipes it again, swinging it parallel to the ground, trying to hit your feet or your tail. But because he's on the ground, he will make this attack at disadvantage. Then I will roll again for him. Because, yeah, it doesn't give, like, a place in which can do it.
I'm going to test something real quick. But I believe if you hold shift when you click
That
it...
might do it. We'll figure that out later. I just need to keep moving.
Yeah, you do that. Just ignore what I'm doing.
Sure. Okay, Sludge, his sword almost takes your foot off, but you're able to hop your way over it. It did not make contact. You feel it whistle right past your tail.
Sludge noticed that when he does when he flips the dodge, cartwheels away from that attack, and then
Dars stands up at the end of it.
okay.
Your axe strikes true again, and Dars takes another 6 damage. He seems to be upset at how this round is going, all of the contact that you're making. He doesn't understand. He steps forward and charges with his sword, determined to put you on the ground. This time... again, the damage is wrong, so I will re-roll the damage. Then this is the fire part. All right. So the stinging flame gets reduced by the inhibitor, but the remainder of the damage comes through, and you take another 5. The round of combat ends, and the two of you return to your corner as Hidari ends it. Sludge, as you approach, you notice Rajko taking hold of your hand. He says, "You need to make it to the 5th round. Take this." He presses a small blue vial into your hand. You recognize this vial to be something called a teardrop. These are illegal potions that give the drinker strength, focus, and toughness, but overuse can have horrific long-term health effects. Taking this potion would definitely break the rules of the event, but you think you might be able to get away with it without Hidari noticing.
Do you need me to do any type of throw?
Well, I need you to make a choice whether or not to take the advantage.
Oh. Need to make it to round 5. Screw it, I'm doing it.
All right, I need you to make a sleight of hand check.
Okay, so just click on sleight of hand,
Yep.
and then normal.
Yes. So, as you appear, like you start to bring the potion to your lips, but you notice Hidari has taken a glance your way. You sort of like drop the potion out of your hand, and you like casually play it off, and Rajko tucks it away again. Maybe you can try again next round.
Okay.
Sloan, you've only been partly paying attention to the big fight. Shortly after it began, Agris Kos, he returned to your table, and at long last he took his seat, but he's been focusing on his friend in the ring, and you've been impatiently waiting to hear the information he has for you. And while you wait for a break to get his attention, you notice another man paying scant attention to the fight. Instead, he is standing at the big picture window, sort of off in the corner. It's the very window that you snuck in through as you went through the building. He's looking out over Deadbridge Chasm. He's got dark, thinning hair and spectacles. Please make an intelligence check.
Intelligent? Am I just like blind?
It's
see.
on the left. You can click the word intelligence.
There is
do,
no
do, do you have your
intelligence,
character sheet open?
I
Your
think.
character sheet open?
Is there? Yeah, I'm looking at my. I don't see.
I think
intelligence.
I had to roll for intelligence, but then it was changed to history.
Are you on the attributes tab of your sheet?
Yes.
Okay, look
The
down the
far
left column.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yes, I see it now.
Not a problem. Everyone's getting used to this.
Check ability.
Yep.
You sure?
Okay.
You don't recognize this person. Try as you might, you can't identify him. He seems a bookish sort. Maybe he's like a librarian or a scholar. But he is holding a carved piece of marble in his hand. It glows with a faint blue light. And he's talking, but he seems to be speaking to no one in particular. Please make an Arcana check.
My
You
God.
recognize the stone in his hand. It's a sending stone. It's part of a pair of magical items, and it allows the user to communicate in brief messages over vast distances. So, make a perception check to see if you can hear what he's saying. You're able to hear his message in its entirety. Mirthmakers missing. Boros recruiting replacement actors. Send operatives to Pivlichino's. Your attention is pulled back to the table by Agris. He seems to be paying attention to you now, even as you're gazing off into the distance. Very well, Miss Shaw. You've been very patient, and I enjoy this fire whiskey very much. Let's hear what you need.
I'm looking for some information.
No one else
Sort
but
of-
Belle. By the way, no one else but Belle is paying attention. Everyone's focus is on the fight, so you feel comfortable
Yeah, so I
talking
sort
to
of
him.
lean in a little bit just to kind of give a little bit more privacy. I'm looking for information on where I can find my latest bounty. It's a guy named Nico. I heard you might have information as to his latest whereabouts.
Nico. You have a last name, Miss Shaw?
I do. See.
Check the chat.
I know. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was checking a different chat. Is that Sevic?
Sevchik.
Sevchik. Nico Sevchik.
Nico Sevchik. I've heard the name. I'll think on it for a moment. And he kind of focuses as the fight starts, the action. You're not really sure whether he's thinking about your problem or if he's just concentrating on having a good time. But eventually you see Maliva and Pivlich approaching the table, along with that singer who was performing from before. Agris speaks first. He says, "Well, Maliva, how go the sign-ups?" Maliva looks worried. She says, "Well, enough so far, but we've still got a few important roles left to fill." She shows Agris the list that she's been carrying. Agris looks over the list, and you see a small smile appear at the corners of his mouth. "Miss Shaw, you were once a Selesnian, were you not? You're familiar with their ways?"
Yes, you could say that.
Very well. I will tell you all I know of Nico Sevchik. If you help Trooper Maliva by signing up to participate tomorrow.
Is this some kind of a joke? You want me? I'm not really one for the stage. You know, I leave that to people like the lovely singer from earlier tonight. It's really not my forte.
Nonetheless, help is needed here, and I'm not deceiving you with any of this. I can't tell you who Nico has been. I can tell you who Nico's been spending his time with, and I can tell you where. You'll have your quarry and your coin in no time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I take the last swig of my drink and say, "All right, sign me up."
Wonderful. And Pivlich hands you a contract, and he says, "You get paid for this too?"
I do like getting paid. I sort of quickly sign my name sloppily on the piece of paper. There you go.
Maliva, she smiles and nods. She looks relieved. "Oh, I thought I'd never find someone for that role." And
Happy
then
to help.
Agris says, I remember where I heard his your target's name come up. You can see Hadari is walking out to start the next round of the fight, and Pivlich's group they head off to keep doing sign-ups at other tables. Agris says, "Okay, word is that Nico, he took a substantial sum of money off a well-to-do Orsov count, someone by the name of Heidecker. I'm guessing that's who you're representing in this matter?"
Could be.
Well, that much money draws a lot of attention, and he's been trying to lay low. He's rumored to have fallen in with a gang of thieves operating out of Bain Alley. They've been pulling heists all over the 10th, using some fancy, expensive magical gear. I'm betting Nico is the one financing them.
You couldn't have told me this without this little mummers charade that I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
You helped my friend out, and now I'm helping you out, Miss Shaw. I don't know
How
much about
generous.
their operation, but I do know who sells their merchandise. She goes by the name Sapphire. Did you see the man that was taking bets on the fight tonight?
I think I noticed him.
Yeah, well, his name is Squint. He's also a fence, and I'm pretty sure Sapphire sells to him. You may be able to find her through him, and she'll lead you right to Nico.
Well, thank you. That's at least a good start.
And that's the best I've got for you for now, but if I find out more, I will pass it along.
I appreciate it as always.
So Agris turns his attention back to the ring as the next round of the fight is about to begin. And
Round 4.
before it begins, though, Sloan, you notice just a few new arrivals trickling through the door. 1 second. Sorry. They don't seem to be here for the fight. They head straight up the steps, heading over to Olivier, and start asking for contracts. Maybe word of the opportunity that is happening here has begun to spread. Now, it's time to get back to the fight. Go ahead and roll your initiative again.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Sludge. It looks like Dara's going first this time, and you see he's got a crazed look in his eye. You're guessing his pride is hurt that you're even still standing. He had a reputation for finishing his fights quickly when he was a champion. He waves his hand in the air, stoking up the crowd, and then he grabs the inhibitor disc off his belt. He holds it out in your direction, and he crushes it between his fists and drops the shards to the floor of the arena.
well, that was stupid. And Sludge gives a smirking look.
Dars looks back at you. He says, "Coward." And the crowd starts booing. Any
Well,
reaction?
Sludge is going to be the hill. Yeah, Sludge is going to be like, I'm not going to be goaded. And he just does the. He looks at him, pulls out both hands, and says, "Come on," you know.
Dars charges forward. He swipes his sword low to the floor. He attempts to split you in two, bottom to top.
I think it might be fixed.
Okay, well, we'll find out. I have him targeted, and now I hit longsword.
Sorry, I won with.
Did it happen? It didn't happen. Oh, I see now. Alright. Okay, that looks correct. I can skip the damage roll because the sword slash swings right past you.
Sludge steps to his right, and then he does a unarmed strike.
I'm sorry,
tries
are you using your third rage this round or not?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So he's going to do an unarmed strike. He's going to try to spin around and elbow him right in the face.
Okay.
Caught off guard. Did it roll?
It did not do a roll with that.
Okay, so should I just... Oh, wait, it did. Oh, but...
I don't see a roll.
Okay, now...
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Your strike swings right past him. Dars steps back, and he chants and he points his finger at you. He says, "No more dodging, orc. Let's end this." You hear him casting a spell. Make an Arcana check to identify it. You recognize the spell to be True Strike. That takes his action. You're up next.
Oh, okay. Sludge starts charging at him with his corpse maker.
Are you going to use Reckless Attack or no?
Yes, I'll use Reckless Attack.
No roll.
Oh wait,
You
I
might
guess I have to
click it again.
Yeah, I have to hit it again.
Okay, and now you can roll. Well, you have to roll another attack.
Did it prompt you to say?
It didn't prompt the advantage.
Yeah, because when I guess before I would click on the great axe, and I think it would just automatically roll back.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
didn't say anything with an advantage.
Just roll 1d20 plus 5 again.
/R 20 plus 5.
Yes. All right. You make contact with your great axe, and the damage is substantial. You slam your axe into him, but even though he's bleeding all over the place, he's got this grin on his face. His long sword. He brings the long sword down on you. And again, the damage here is not correct, so six, and then the fire damage. All right. The inhibitor protects you against some of the flames, but not all of them. 2 fire damage gets through, and since you're not raging, the additional 13 damage all hits you. A total of 15.
That's my luck. I'm kaput.
The flaming blade slashes down, striking, piercing your chest. You feel the flame bursting through, is burning your lung, sending a cascade of agony through you. Hidari charges into the ring. He charges into the ring. Now you as a barbarian, you have the ability to prevent yourself from going down to 0 hit points, and you can go and stop at 1 hit point. But the blow did take you down and cause the end of the fight, even as Hodari walks up and starts healing you. He stands there and he lifts Darz's hand and he says, and Pivlich flies out into the arena as the crowd goes crazy. Pivlich says, "Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Darz the Destroyer."
Aww.
So wait, so I'm confused.
His
Yes.
relentless endurance.
What was the ability you said that I had that I would still be at 1?
Relentless endurance.
Relentless Endurance. I forgot what the name of it was. It basically means that, like, the attack took you down, but you didn't need Hodari to save your life.
Effectively, instead of being at 0 like you are right now, you'd be at 1. Which
And so if I'm down at 0,
Tell you what, let me read the ability again. Maybe I misunderstood exactly what it does. Because if it does hold you at 1, maybe you survive this round.
I'm trying to find it on my character sheet.
It should be under Barbarian, right?
When you are reached Okay, when you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So, if he was going unconscious,
Oh, right. This is
but
from
it
half-orc,
didn't
right?
kill him.
Yep.
Yes.
What?
This is
Yeah.
from half-orc, not from barbarian. I'm looking in
Right,
the
it's
wrong
a
place.
half-orc. So if he got hit, but the hit wasn't enough to kill him, and he would have gone to 0 or below, then he gets 1 hit point instead, and he doesn't get knocked
So
out.
That's true.
I was
okay.
at 12. I was
I-
at 12. I was at 12 hit points. So I don't know if.
You would have to go to negative half your max.
And you did not.
Oh,
So
okay.
you are actually at 1 hit point, staggered from the attack. You managed to survive and not go down. Even as Pivlix looks like he's flying into the arena to call an end to the fight, he realizes that you're still standing.
I look over at Dars. It's like, I'm not done, bullshit.
The round ends,
On
and
the
you go
ground.
back to your corner. Would you like to try again to use the teardrop, or would you like to just go out for round 5?
Go out for round 5. I gotta take the ball for round 5.
Okay. You
I
manage.
look at Raj, and I nod my head, and just saying like, we're good.
All right, Hidari waves off Pivlik. You guys wind up going back to your corners. The crowd is having a great time. This is quite the show. This is exactly what they wanted to see. Go ahead and roll for initiative again.
All right.
Okay, you have the first attack.
I look at Corpse Maker, and I stare at Dwars, and I'm like, enough of this. He throws Corpse Maker down on the ground, and then he does his final rage. He does one last death scream. His hands starts forming into these huge claws, and wants to perform his attack. He starts dashing on all fours towards Dars. And do I just click on attack, or do I
guess
use that?
It's if I don't think you have a
the unarmed strikes because that has the same
yeah. Use that one.
hit as the
Okay.
the hooks.
Okay.
You hit him. The 7 damage you do to Dars is not enough to take him down, but you can tell he's reeling. He's angry. He sees you drop. Yeah, Joe?
I was just gonna say, since you have your claws, you could actually make a second attack.
Yeah. I hit him with my right, and I swing at my left. I just do the same same attack again.
Go for it.
All right.
That is insufficient to hit his armor class. So your second claw misses. Dars saw you drop your weapon and he dropped his. With anger, he charges at you, trying again to gore you with his horns. If I can find them. Unarmed attack is here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Alright. He slams his horns into your belly, just pile driving you into the ground, just burying his horns, just snashing back and forth. This time, you feel like you're down for the count.
Sludge's head whips back, coughs up blood, and he falls down to the ground, struggling just to even try to get back up.
Hidari charges in and tackles Dars off of you. Dars just kind of chucks Hidari across the ring and looks like he's about to go charge you again. But then he stops He gains control of himself, and the crowd chants his name as Pivlich declares him the winner.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I lost my bet.
Helio, you noticed that Silkwall was just like, like, I mean, he put up a hell of a fight, but you can see just a little bit of a glint in his eye of like, he still made out well.
Did you?
Yes?
Nope. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. The rest of the evening is a blur of drinking and laughing as each of your groups talks about the fight. Eventually, you each find your way back home, tired, happy, and wondering what tomorrow's Clash of Champions will bring. The festival of the Guild Pact has begun. Thank you all for this extra long session. I know you guys are all ready to get going, so we will wrap it up right here. I appreciate being able to get to the end of this.
Woo!
That was great.
Sorry,